taxes, raise families, and live here. This is the Jake Underwood Show on Cleveland's AM 1420. The Answer.
Hello and good morning. Welcome into the Jake Underwood Show right here, AM 1420, The Answer, 102.9 FM. We're also on X, Rumble, and YouTube. Just search the Jake Underwood Show. We will have an after show today on Rumble. But before the after show, we're going to dive into some things. First of all, I'm Jake Underwood. The man behind the glass is one Mr. Seth Williams. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How's it going over there?
I'm here.
Very good. And I'm glad to hear it, sir. I'm glad to hear it. We got a lot to talk about today. First of all, the fallout from yesterday with the Fauci hearings. We covered a bit of it live, and then it kind of just took a narrative of its own. We talked about it yesterday, how it was going to be accountability. That was going to be the main thing that we hear. We are hearing that, but we also have some answers to follow up on that. Also, the voting age here in the state of Ohio. They're talking about changing it. Possibly, maybe. We'll see, and I also want to get your opinion on that. And the big headline this morning, Elizabeth Warren tweeted out that her and President Trump are on the same page. Huh? We'll get into that as well as some other stuff. But I first want to kick it off with, it's the leading story right now. Everything going on with Dr. Fauci. People are reacting. You have people that are saying it was great. They didn't like the way that it went. And that was just with the way that Fauci handled everything. They weren't sure. And then, Bernie Moreno, he went off a little bit. The Ohioan in me loves it. The broadcaster in me goes, what are you doing to us? Because there were people that were carrying that live. We carried it. And good thing it wasn't the F-bomb that we had, but we dumped it everything in time. It was when he said the other one starts with an S, excuse me. But we got all that taken care of. But, what are you doing to us? Like I said, the Ohioan in me, I'm like, let's go for it. The broadcaster in me goes, what are you doing to us? But there's a lot of reaction to it. In fact, there were. It was partisan. We knew it was going to be. We knew it was going to be, for the most part, all Democrats were going to sit there and say, "Oh my goodness, he's a hero to us. How dare you do this?" John Fetterman did speak out. He went against the tide when it comes to that, and we have that. And we'll play that for you. But President Trump, he was asked about the pardon yesterday. So a lot of the answers were things that we were curious about, whether or not it's not whether or not the pardon was an auto pen. But it's, are they going to try to get it taken away? Because it was rumored to be an auto pen. He answered that. But first, I want to kick it off. This is the clip that's getting everybody real upset. This is the Bernie Moreno. It is censored. We did that. But it is censored. But I think Senator Bernie Moreno, I think he spoke for a lot of people. This is what he had to say.
It was about 6 years ago today that I decided I'm going to give up my businesses, sell them all, run for office, run for the United States Senate. Here I am sitting in front of you 6 years later saying, who the f*** do you think you were for doing that? It is a total disgrace what you did to this country. And if my Democrat colleagues are standing there defending you, I hope the voters of the United States of America watch the clips of every one of you doting on a guy who was more interested in being a celebrity than saving American people.
And if you're wondering, if you're going, well, how did he know he wanted to be more of a celebrity than actually do his job? Well, because his diary came out, and where he was talking about how he got to meet Julia Roberts and all these different people, and he was loving the limelight. He was loving the attention that he was receiving from the different people that were reaching out to him. And those same people, some of them are going out of their way to defend him after yesterday. Dr. Fauci, of course, he pled the fifth for every question. It was as simple as, what color is the carpet in front of you? At the advice of my counsel, I am pleading the fifth. What did you eat this morning? Do you have a tongue? What color is your hair? Do you have eyeballs? Everything, no matter what, it was that he was pleading the fifth. That's just what it was. It didn't come off good. There are a lot of people, and I kind of agree with this. I want answers as much as anybody. We've talked about that. So much so we dive into the files that Tulsi Gabbard released. We'll dive into the files that the White House put out yesterday, as well as the diary. I'm still working on reading it. I'm still working on breaking it down. So we'll have that probably the beginning parts of next week is when we'll dive into that really. But for a lot of people, it just came off as a political show. So there's some frustration that's growing with that. There's the frustration of, okay, both sides got their clips. Is anybody actually going to be held accountable? And that there were a lot of people questioning that yesterday. And in fact, Rand Paul must have been bombarded with those questions because he actually tweeted out that a vote coming next week in my committee. So there is a chance that because Anthony Fauci was given this pardon, because he was given, as Rand Paul said, the privilege that he wasn't going to face any charges whatsoever for everything that happened. He was given that privilege. He's going to be held in contempt because he wasn't answering any questions. And there are people going back and forth about that as well, but there's going to be a vote on that. So we'll see what happens with that. I wish I could tell you right now what the answer was. I wish I knew what the answer was right now. But a lot of the speculation has been brought up about the pardon. They don't know. They're not sure what to make of the pardon, if it's actually going to count, if it doesn't. And President Trump was asked yesterday if he was going to respect President Joe Biden's pardon of Dr. Anthony Fauci. This is what he had to say.
Well, the only thing you can really think about is the auto pen, because the most powerful thing a president has, they say, is the power of pardon. So he was pardoned by Biden, and I respect that. I know how powerful it is. It's a very powerful, they say it's literally the most powerful thing a president has. Now, whether or not I sign my things directly, always, almost everything I sign directly. You're witness to many of them. He signed very few. The only thing I know that he signed was Hunter Biden's pardon. But I'm not sure that he signed, he probably didn't sign this one. So I can't tell you what the law is. I've heard that you have to have a lot of proof. You need to have letters. You need to have all sorts of things, that the person operating the auto pen has to know exactly what it's all about. He didn't know what it was about because I saw him testify.
And so, and then he goes on to say that he wasn't sure. But the bottom line is what he said there at the beginning. He's going to respect the pardon. So what happened yesterday, he does have the privilege to he's not going to get in trouble over any of it, potentially. That's just it. We're going to see. We're going to see what happens with the contempt. Now, Seth yesterday broke that. He explained to us that it was 1 month to 12 months and then $100,000 fine. Is that what you said?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So, I mean, I would have to guess that they're going to try to get the maximum time.
I guess he gets no time.
Yeah, that's even if he's held in contempt. That's the thing. We don't know for sure. We don't know. We'll know next week when there's a vote on it. I to be honest with you, I don't know. Like I said, I wish I even had an idea. I don't even have an idea right now because it's hard to tell, because what they're going to do. Now, you have to understand what they're used to doing when it comes to Dr. Fauci. For some people, it's just ingrained into them to, no matter what, defend him. And I'm not talking about the people out on the Capitol. No. I'm talking about the people that have the platform that they have and maybe became relevant during COVID. So you're going to have a lot of people outspoken for and against him. I hope that doesn't sway that committee either way. I don't think it could, but I don't think it's going to have that much influence over them. Over us, it definitely will, because, they like to get that reaction. They get money off of those impressions that they get. So they're going to do everything they can to make sure that they get, people going and worked up. But, I mean, it's very interesting. I mean, the fallout of everything that's going on right now, people are very upset. And look, we deserve to know what happened. We deserve to know. Not 50 years from now either. We deserve to know now. Like, this is it's a major thing. That's what we need. We deserve to know. Bottom line. This is the Jake Underwood Show. We're going to take a break. We'll continue talking about this. If you want to chime in on what you believe should be done with Dr. Fauci, let us know. The number is 216-901-0945. We have some text messages coming in. We'll catch up on those. If you want to become one of the texters, the number is 866-525-0955. We'll be back right after this.
Live and local. This is the Jake Underwood Show on AM 1420. The Answer.
Welcome into the Jake Underwood Show right here, AM 1420. The Answer. It is a Thursday. We're almost through the week. And today's date is July 30th. Yesterday was Wednesday. It was the 29th. And that's the day that we will all remember that I think... I don't know. I wouldn't put money on it because my hearing history knowledge isn't that good. But 111 times I feel like might be a record. Because that's how many times Anthony Fauci said, I plead the fifth. Now, the main thing that yesterday came down to was this is what I noticed when I went back and I watched it last night, because obviously we were on air from the whole thing. So I went back and I watched bits and pieces, and I was just watching the way. And really what it came down to, it was who Fauci was privately in his diary compared to who he was publicly. Where publicly it was, I don't want any of the accolades. I'm doing this because I have to. And because I'm a doctor, I must follow the science. But you read his diary and it comes off, it is... It is the most stereotypical thing you could find when it comes to a diary, which it sounds crazy, but it really, truly is. It's just, it doesn't say Dear Diary, but that's how it comes off. It's just, oh, diary, I had an incredible day. Thank you for everything. Oh, my goodness, Julia Roberts winked at me today. She said her throat got dry while talking to me because she was that nervous. Like, just goofy stuff like that. Compared to what it was publicly, where it was, oh, he's America's doctor. You had teenagers making songs about Dr. Fauci, give me vaccines. You had all these different things going on. So it was a complete different. It was just completely different in the diary from what we saw publicly. And I think we all knew that was the case, but now we actually have proof, because this is the whole thing. I brought this up numerous times before, but we can say all these things we believe to be true, but if there's no proof of it, if there's nothing in black and white that we can actually point to and go, there it is, right there, that's what we can nail them on, then we really don't have anything. We have an idea. Now that idea, there's a little more to that. Now there's some substance to it that we could actually put together and say, no, look at this. Let's see, we do have some people lined up. If you want to join the queue, the number is 216-901-0945. Let's go to Jim in West Park. Jim, you're in the air.
Yes, it was not. It got out. The virus got out. It was planned and released to kill 65 to 90-year-olds, all right? People that died in hospitals, if they were tested with the Chinese swabs that had probably the COVID virus on it, whether you died of a motorcycle accident or whatever, the hospitals got paid predominantly.
Oh, so well, they also got paid. If you remember, there was the stuff that came out when they put the patient on a ventilator, they got more money. And then if they put it on the death certificate of died with COVID or from COVID, there was a difference in money with that too, Jim.
Yes, I know. Stroke smirk. Remember what he said? Oh, he's not going to get in. We have an insurance policy. And I need this guy to stay out of jail, because with the Epstein files that just disappeared, Bill and Linda Gates, Obama moving bioweapons labs overseas to Wuhan and Ukraine, which really upset Putin, was probably why we have a war over there, and Biden making the shot mandatory. This part of Hillary's Great Reset. There's too much stuff there, and I don't want him locked up and cause a suicide by sheet.
Right.
Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, no problem, Jim. Thank you for the call. I get that. I get what you're saying, but look, then how do you hold them accountable? If you don't want them in jail, how do you hold them accountable? That's all I would ask. I understand your concerns there. Let's see. We have a text. This is from Dennis Polk. It says, to those people who defend Fauci's total failure to even speak about his words and actions as a government official during the crisis that was COVID, realize what they are supporting. They realize the idea that government officials have no duty whatsoever to the citizens to justify or explain their policies. That's That's one of my biggest concerns, and you hit it perfectly. I was trying to think of a way to form what is it? What is it that's sticking out to me? And that's exactly what it is. And now here's the problem. What does it look like going forward? We're not going to have any accountability moving forward, because now what do they get to do? Left, right, center, they get to sit there and they'll be able to say, I plead the fifth, unless they decide you can't do that, we're holding you in contempt. Are they actually going to punish and try to get answers? Are they actually going to hold somebody who is seen now as a criminal? Are they going to hold their feet to the fire a little bit? Because look, innocent until proven guilty. And I understand that. But there's enough out there that the hearing needs to be justified, and the answers need to be had. The answers need to be given. That's just all there is to it. You can't continually sit there and say, I plead the fifth, I plead the fifth, I plead the fifth. Because I'm going to tell you what, as a taxpayer, that's going to annoy me more than anything. Because now what I'm seeing is not only did you do all the things that you did, in my opinion, this is only my opinion, not only did you do that, but now you're going to waste my tax dollars on top of it? Are you kidding? Like, we really need to get answers. And I know, and I know you're thinking that, well, that's Jake, you're crazy. How could you think anybody could defend him? Well, if you're familiar with TMZ, Harvey Levin, he's the one who owns TMZ. He's the main guy in charge of it. And I'll say this, for the most part, Harvey doesn't get involved in politics. He doesn't get involved, I should say, the opinions of politics. Obviously, TMZ, they have the stuff going on in DC now. They're shoving cameras in people's faces, trying to get reactions, all of that. TMZ, for the most part, and Seth, I know we've talked about TMZ before. As soon as we hear if a celebrity died, it's, well, who said it? Was it TMZ? That's usually the line of questioning.
Or one of the most credible news sites, if you want to call it that there is.
When it comes to celebrities and different,
for the most part,
different things like that, they are one of the top outlets for that. So in media, there is a little bit of that respect that goes along with TMZ, and I know that sounds crazy because, you see them like hiding out in people's dumpsters trying to get pictures. But when it comes to like actual news about celebrities or, even government officials now, they're pretty good at breaking it. But Harvey Levin last night on the TMZ YouTube page decided to put out a little bit of a statement. Now, I'm going to say this. It's almost 5 minutes. I'm not going to make you sit through the five minutes. But we will do about the first minute and a half, just so you could get an idea of where their mindset is. So you can understand when people are defending him on social media, you can say, I don't agree with it, but I guess I understand where they're coming from, but I think it's ridiculous. This is Harvey Levin of TMZ. This is what he had to say.
I have not used TMZ's YouTube channel to vent personal feelings about issues, but I'm going to do that today. Watching Anthony Fauci before a congressional hearing taking the Fifth Amendment is just one of the most heartbreaking things I have seen in government in my lifetime. And this is something we need to reckon with. That I'm going to say up front, I have problems the way the CDC handled COVID. I think that they did damage to children, to adults, and I don't think they did it maliciously. I think they did it because they were using their judgment and were overprotective, and I think at times overstated things they said they knew but really didn't. And I have personal problems with the way that COVID was handled. That said, Anthony Fauci, over a period of decades, has been an amazing public servant. In the 80s, I had many friends who died of AIDS, a horrible, painful death. And I had friends who lived because of Anthony Fauci, because he was willing to look at experimental drugs in a different way than they had looked at them before. And that really resulted in lives saved.
There, as I said, the clip in total is about 5 minutes. That was the first 2 minutes of it. Everything else after that, he just continues to basically repeat the same points. We're going to take a break, but when we come back, I'm going to break this down a little bit because it's interesting what he said there. And I'm going to tell you why, because they're justifying things that they shouldn't be. And I'll tell you what that is when we come back. This is the Jake Underwood Show.
the Jake Underwood Show on AM 1420. The Answer.
Welcome back to the Jake Underwood Show right here, AM 1420, The Answer, 102.9 FM. Of course, we are also on X, Rumble, and YouTube. Just search the Jake Underwood Show. I am Jake Underwood. The man behind the glass is one Mr. Seth Williams. Good morning.
Good morning.
How's it going back there?
It's here.
It's here. All right. Well, that's...
Oh, all right. Yeah.
It's better. You know what? It's better than being nowhere at all.
I'm having one of those days.
Why?
Because I get, told right. I'm going to just be honest.
Okay.
Right before the show that I got to meet with upper management.
Well, no, he's meeting with everybody. He does
Why?
he does that every time he's in
I've
town.
never had to meet with upper management.
Oh, well, he does that every time he's in town.
I usually just fly below the radar.
Yeah, no. Well,
Now I'm flying right into the radar.
All right, you're flying. You're flying.
I can't be good, right?
No, usually that's a good thing.
It can't be good.
No, people.
When he comes and says,
listen,
"Hey,
this is
after you're done today, come see me in the office."
This is all I'm gonna say. I've had to have meetings with numerous people.
Yeah.
During my time here, to the point like I had to make like phone calls to people that are in other states.
Right.
And I'm still here.
That's you.
Oh,
The last time
right.
that I had, hey, after the show, let's meet in the office over there. It didn't turn out all that great.
Yeah, but that was them. We are we. They are they.
I understand. I'm not trying to compare. I'm just saying.
So stop comparing.
I'm going to be a tad bit paranoid until 1 o'clock this afternoon.
It might even be sooner because I don't know. We go in a full hour on the after show today on Rumble when you search the Jake Underwood Show.
I got rehab today. I got to learn how to walk.
Okay. All right. So then, yeah, I mean, we'll go like 20, 25 minutes then, just to make sure there's enough time for everything. I don't know. He might ask. He might just be asking you how you're doing. You've been back for a week.
He asked me the other day how I was doing.
Well, you've been back for what, a week now, right?
Yeah.
All right.
It can't be good.
No, you'll be all right.
If he's listening, come down and just say, "Yeah, you're all right. Don't worry about it." Then I won't be worried.
Or come down and do the Undertaker. Don't
do that. Let's not go.
Is that why you're being quiet today?
Yes.
All right. Well, if this is your last show, then make it boisterous.
But see, I'm concerned that that's maybe one of the things he wants to say.
No.
Like, you got to shut up on the show.
No, see, I think you're overthinking it. I think you're overthinking it.
It's either one of three things. You're fired.
Probably not.
Don't talk on the show because you're not funny.
Probably not. Well, you're not funny, but probably
Well, I
not.
appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank
of course. Yeah, supporting always.
And you're not doing your job.
Yeah, I think you're just getting in your own head. That's what this
Well,
is.
that's what I always do.
Well, knock it off. Did you try that?
So I'm missing legs.
No, did you try that? Get out of your own head.
All right. Well, if he's listening, please come down and say everything's all right.
No, you're fine.
Right.
If Dale's here, if Dale's listening, go in there and have an intervention. Or
Dale
just
doesn't know anything.
Or just stop. Yes, he does. Stop it.
Dale knows a lot. Dale knows how to do production. Dale knows how to run the station and everything else. But he's not going to tell me what's going on.
I'm not taking shots at anybody.
I'm not taking shots at Dale. I'm saying he's not going to tell me
Dale,
what's going on.
I think you know a lot. In fact, you were one of my teachers, and I learned a lot from you because you know a lot.
Dale's one of I consider him a friend.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
but he's not going to tell me if I'm getting fired.
No, I don't think you're getting fired, Seth. I think you're getting in your own head, and you should not do that. That's how that works.
All right, text in. Make sure that you don't. Tell the bosses don't fire me. Jake will read all the texts to the boss after the show.
Someone texted and said, "Jake, I figured you'd get the boot after you had Tom Havlin on your show." That show about the Tom Havlin,
yeah,
who works with the blood clots. I can't remember. Were you here when we had him on the show?
I don't believe so.
He called in. That podcast.
Yes, I was on.
That podcast disappeared.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Remember we put that as a standalone?
Yeah.
Yeah. That disappeared.
I put that one up on my own.
Yeah. So yeah, I know you did because I also double checked and made sure it was up and the episode was up.
On? Wow.
Yep. And so yeah, and because that's when we talked about he was going to go to McFan and all that. We because I talked to him at CPAC, we had the whole conversation. Yeah, no, I will say this, especially with that higher up in particular. Almost every time he is in town, he likes to check in with people. Just hey, come in here, let's talk. I know he's done it with Style, he's done it with other people. So I think you're getting in your own head.
All right, so don't worry. Here's what you're telling me.
Yeah, I would tell you don't worry.
Never met with him one-on-one.
You've had phone calls, though. He's called you and stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
That's different.
Not really. It's a phone call, but in person, it's a meeting.
I mean, that's when I had like the giant.
Yeah,
down below,
yeah. When you
just
when
making
you had
sure
your
that I
health
was-
stuff going on, yeah.
This is all right, but
Right.
now can't be good.
No, you'll be all right.
Okay.
So we're talking about the Fauci fallout from the hearings yesterday. We broke down, and somebody said that moron from TMZ needs to read Bobby Kennedy's book, The Real Anthony Fauci. Amen. Honestly, that's very accurate, and it's a great book. Not just because I love Secretary Kennedy, but it is a good book. It breaks down a lot of the stuff. But there was something said by Harvey there, and I'm going to try to pinpoint it exactly, and I'm going to replay a portion of it. And I want to know if you heard it, because I know I heard it. And during the break, I asked Seth, I go, did you hear that? And he heard it. So I'm going to play this one more time. Take a listen.
And this is something we need to reckon with. That I'm going to say up front, I have problems the way the CDC handled COVID. I think that they did damage to children, to adults, and I don't think they did it maliciously. I think they did it because they were using their judgment and were overprotective, and I think at times overstated things they said they knew but really didn't.
Time out. Oh. Time out. One more time, Harvey. What was that in the last few seconds there? What'd you say?
They were using their judgment and were overprotective, and I think at times overstated things they said they knew but really didn't.
So they lied. So they exaggerated and they lied to get what they wanted. So now we have the guy from TMZ up there saying that it's okay that the government overstated and exaggerated, but they lied. That's not okay. None of that is okay. So to sit there and act like it is, act like it's no big deal, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't matter what position they hold. They're accountable to us. It doesn't matter what party or anything like that. They're accountable to us. And one of the things that they shouldn't do is lie. Like, I don't think that's a crazy take, Seth. I mean, is what I'm saying crazy?
Oh, not at all. I mean, they obviously lied. They admitted to lying. He's saying that they lied, or they over-exaggerated. Sorry.
Well, yeah, and look, they shouldn't have over-exaggerated.
No.
Like, people were freaking out. This was the first time since the Spanish flu, really, in the 19-teens, that this was going on.
It cost people their livelihoods.
It cost people their livelihoods, their lives. It cost. I mean, I want you to really remember. I mean, do you remember the videos of the grandparents holding their kids through plastic? Do you remember the videos of the kids just holding on through plastic and everything else? That's what they did, and it was all done because of an exaggeration? No, it wasn't done because of an exaggeration. It was done because they misled people. You can try to characterize it whatever way you want to characterize it. But it was an Hold on, we got breaking news. Seth, are you okay now?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Okay, all right.
I want to thank Marcy for going down and telling the big boss that Seth is about to cry on the radio.
Yeah, no.
So, yeah,
You're good now?
we're all good.
Okay. All right. He's going to check in?
Check it in.
Checking in. All right. I that was my feeling about it all. And not an exaggeration.
He said, I forgot you had PTSD about what happened.
Yeah, no, like I said, he's good at just, like, even if it might be a 5-minute conversation, just like, hey, everything's good. You need anything? All right, cool. That's usually how it goes. And then, you just catch up. But going back to Harvey, it's not okay that they exaggerated. It's not okay that they lied to get their way, because this is the problem. Government's going to control as much as they can. And look, I'm not saying this is just on the lefties. I'm not saying that at all, because the Republicans got caught up in it too. President Trump was president at the time. He got wrapped up in it also. So they all kind of fell for it. There were no checks and balances. The people that were checking it and were trying to balance out the coverage, they were shut down. I was one of those. Seth, I know you were a part of a platform that was also shut down a few times on Facebook
yes.
and other things due to that. So the balance was there. The problem is because of those exaggerations, everybody wanted to believe them. And if you questioned them at all, you were taken off of those platforms and your voice was muffled. It wasn't taken away completely, but instead of talking like this, you sounded like this and nobody could hear you.
Do people realize how crazy we sounded? I went into a sub shop, if you will, one of the many that are out there.
Yes.
And I didn't have my mask on because I needed to order my food.
Right.
And she couldn't hear me with my mask on. So I pulled it down and I got yelled at and told to leave the store.
Were you eating fresh?
Not saying anything.
Okay, all right, okay. I'm just asking questions. No, it's crazy. Like we have to go to break, but when we come back, like I really want people to during the break really think about the stuff that like we were doing and it was rationalized, and now we have people coming forward going, well, I mean, they couldn't help it that they were exaggerating the points that like what are we talking about here? This is. I'm going to read that text when we come back. This is the Jake Underwood Show. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll continue talking about this. But text in 866-525-0955. I mean, like, what are we forgetting that was exaggerated and just some of the crazy things that we saw during COVID because of the exaggeration of the numbers and different things? We'll be back right after this.
better questions. Back to the Jake Underwood Show on AM 1420. The Answer.
Welcome back to the Jake Underwood Show right here. AM 1420, The Answer, 102.9 FM. We're also on X, Rumble, and YouTube. Just search the Jake Underwood Show. And you can watch some of the behind the scenes there. Are you okay now?
Yeah, I feel better.
Okay. All right. No, that's.
Had some people texting me. It was very nice, too.
What are they texting you?
Some fans of the show just said.
Oh, very nice.
But they said they'd never listen to you again if I got fired.
Oh, good.
So,
did they really say that?
Yeah, one did.
Oh, good. Good.
That's good. You should be happy that you have me then.
No, I am. I'm just,
I mean, I could be terrible at a lot of things, but at least I bring a couple of people to the show.
Well, yeah, no, that's good. Yeah.
What's more important?
Well. What's more important, 3 people listening or operations? No, I'm joking. Completely joking.
Details.
Well, hold on. Let's see here. Somebody said management probably found one of those videos of Seth twerking.
Those are out there.
And just shaking cheeks. And then they said, kidding. Management probably wants to make sure, basically, that you're good to go.
How can I twerk? Yeah, twerk now.
I'm worried about your work and not twerking. You like that? Someone said, because before we went to break, I asked the question, what do you remember? Like, what's the thing we're forgetting that happened during COVID? And somebody said, I will never forget. And I will never stop talking about what was done to us. No one should ever forget. You can use my name, Jake. It's Laura Kastner. Yeah, she's on it. She's on top of it. She's got the Substack. I've shared her posts a few times. I mean, she's on it.
I remember going to a gas station, right?
Yeah.
In the morning, because, again, I had to go to work regardless. And there are all these stupid people in there wearing masks, right?
Yep.
But they weren't actually on their face. They were around their chin.
Right.
Nose exposed.
Yep.
But they're still wearing these stupid things.
Yeah.
If we're not going to wear it right, then don't wear it at all.
Yeah, but they had to wear it because they could grandstand that way.
And the people that still kill me to this day are the people wearing a
Where
mask
they're driving
inside their car.
Yeah, the people that are wearing their masks while they're driving. Like,
By themselves.
What are you protected? What are you protected from when you do that? It doesn't make any sense. None. Zero, zilch. No. None. It's nonsense. Doesn't make any sense.
Remember, you made the cool masks though.
That's right. I made the Yeah, because they made us wear masks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm making custom masks. I had the old station logo.
And
then what was it? The initials on the other side?
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, I forgot I did that.
You made masks cool.
I made masks very cool. A lot of people, they said, but sir, we don't have cool masks. And I said, we're going to make masks great again. Mga. Mga. We're going to make masks great again. It's going to be a beautiful thing, really. Let's go to Chuck in Parma. Chuck, you're in the air.
Good morning, my guys. How you doing today?
Doing well, Chuck. How are you?
Oh, man, it is what it is. One thing, the funny part was when I heard a guy say today on one of the shows, I think the show before you, which I really like that guy. He does a great job. It's really good. Mm-hmm. But he said, I'd like to see what Fauci's entry into his diary was last night after the beating he took.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So anyway, I not that I'm changing the subject. It's almost the same subject in the thought. Mm-hmm. Earlier, there was some doctors, when COVID was around, there was some conservative-type doctors that were prescribing drugs to people. One of them was that Sherry Tenpenny in the area. There were some other doctors. And these people would give people prescriptions, and they would roll on into their local pharmacy, and some leftist pharmacist who knows the whole world and it actually knows more than doctors, remember them? Mm-hmm. They would say, we won't give you this. No, this isn't prescribed for that. You can't. You have to have this infection to have this. And there was a lot of times these pharmacists would not give the patient/customer the stuff that was ordered by a doctor.
Right.
This happened. And I wonder, because now they say that all these other drugs like the hydroxychloroquine and there was ivermectin. I think there was another one that was I'm almost saying it had two different types. One was for horses and one was for people.
That's the ivermectin. It comes the horse one. Not that I would know, but it comes in sour green apple.
Yeah,
and it's pretty good. Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah. So, anyways, what I'm saying, Noah, is what happens if, say, Joe Fabitz went there in August or April, and he goes in and and they won't give him the stuff. And 2 days later, because he basically had been getting better, also it gets even worse. He goes to the hospital and blah, blah, blah. I think them pharmacies should be liable. That is pathetic that they think they have the right to tell you what medicine you can and can't take. I don't understand that. And that was crazy. And just the thought that this man stood there and grandstanded right in front of everybody. And I'm telling you, I understand that Bernie might have went over the top, but I was cheering him because he is from Ohio. He's done a great job. And one thing I will say is at least he spoke his mind.
Yeah.
He didn't put a cloth or I better watch what I say. He was upset. You could tell there was Josh Hawley was on it.
Yep.
These guys really said what they had to say. It was actually embarrassing for our country that a man who was leading it at the time with all these rules ended up. That was one of the most biggest crimes against humanity that I've seen as a man, and being 65 years old. I'm disgusted by what happened there, and there should be some accountability. Have a great day, guys. Take care.
You as well, Chuck. Thank you. And well said, Chuck. Well said. It can never happen again. That's the main thing. I hope we all learn that when it comes to things being shut down and the government taking advantage of a situation, that we all keep it in the back of our heads of, whoa, hold on, we saw this before, we've seen this before. We need to watch how this is going. That's the main thing. And I think for the most part, and I see some calls coming in, we're going to get to you guys as soon as we come back from the break. We got to hit a break. But that's what I hope sticks with us, is no matter what happens, we're making sure that this does not happen again. That's the main thing. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to continue talking about this. But yeah, I want to hear from you. What was the one thing? What was that moment? Whether it was yesterday while you were watching, or it's that moment that you recall from COVID where you're going, somebody's got to answer for this. Because I'll tell you what mine was. I've kind of hinted at it. And I mean, there were a few, but for me, the one that I was like, wait a second. We'll talk about that when we come back, because I want to make sure we never forget what happened there, so we can tell future generations about what happened, make sure it doesn't happen to them. We'll be right back. This is The Jake Underwood Show.
still matters. Because real conversations still matter. This is the Jake Underwood Show on AM 1420. The Answer.
Welcome back to the Jake Underwood Show right here. AM 1420, The Answer, 102.9 FM. We are on X, we are on Rumble, we are on YouTube. When you search the Jake Underwood Show, it is Thursday, July 30th, 2026. It's a beautiful year.
Don't forget about TikTok.
And we're doing like a behind the scenes thing right now. It's kind of testing out. But yeah, if you want to see, what we talk about during the breaks and stuff, and I talk to you guys during the show there. Yeah, if you look up the Jake Underwood Show on the TikTok.
I'm watching that as we speak too.
Are you?
I'm going to.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. So, okay. I mean, right now we're at 56 viewers on TikTok, so that's not bad considering it's the first time we're going live there. That's cool. So yeah, we're talking about COVID. We're talking about Dr. Fauci, the fallout from the hearing yesterday, and I asked the question, like, what is it you remember, where it was that moment where you're going, this getting to be a little too much. I'm not liking this. Let's see. We have somebody text in. They said, I used a bandana for a mask until they made us wear only N95 masks. What a time. I mean, really, what a time we lived in. Someone said I had a coworker who stowed a face shield in a hoodie. So he wears that every day with an N95 underneath and gloves. I've worked here for a year and a half. I have no idea what the dude actually even looks like. Wait, hold on. That's like currently. The person still wears a mask currently.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Ooh, yeah. The thing is that's sad to me. Like, that's really sad. Like, they messed people up so bad when it came to just what Harvey called, what'd he say, exaggerations with numbers and different things. They messed people up that bad that they're still wearing masks. I still see some of them in the car. Now, I will say this. If you're sick or, I know some people that chemotherapy, different things like that, if you want to wear your mask while you're out because you just want to be careful, okay. I will say this. The only time, and Seth, you can attest to this, the only time that I really wore a mask during COVID is when I was at work, and it was when I was around the older people that we worked with because I just wanted to be careful.
Yeah, I get that.
Like, in my head, I'm going, I'm not going to be the reason why this person gets sick. And possibly they got an underlying, chronic illness that they might not be aware of. They might not know about. And I'm not going to be the reason why that gets exaggerated and something happens. So I'm going to if I have to wear a mask for 2 hours a day to make sure they're good until things get cleared up, I'm going to do that. And that lasted for like a month and a half.
And I'll go back to what we talked about before. We did some stuff that was kind of stupid. I mean, we talked about wearing a mask around some of the older people one of the older people that we worked with was our boss.
Yeah.
And he would come around and he would sit there and we would go outside and check the temperature. In other words, have a cigarette. And so it was like a smoking circle outside.
Well, hold on. Let me explain it real quick. Before COVID, the smoking circle was, I don't know, like the diameter of that circle, we were maybe 5 feet apart from each other?
Yeah.
If that. And I'm talking like standing next to each other. We're just talking. Somebody's leaning against the car.
Yeah. Usually me.
And then COVID hits. Now, picture this. Giant parking lot empty. There's like 6 cars there. They're all in the front row because nobody wants to walk. And, they have them like front to front, these parking spaces. Imagine about 5 of those, and one person is standing in each parking spot. And we're not talking. We're doing so what's going on today's show? Yeah, we'll pull that clip. Uh-huh.
The problem is then they're blowing smoke and it's going in each other's faces.
That's true, too. Yeah, the smoke is then traveling.
And then afterwards, one of the older guys that we worked with would tell me to get in his car with him. This isn't helping anything, but it's fine. I didn't care.
Someone said, oh, Bozo. Bozo texted and said, remember the arrows on the floor in the store? I totally disregarded them. To the chagrin of the people around me. Yeah, that's just it.
What difference did it make?
They did everything they could to make sure that you followed that you followed along. You did what you were supposed to do, and they were mad when you didn't. And it wasn't the craziest thing is it wasn't even the stores that were mad at you. It wasn't the stores that were upset with you for doing it. It was the people next to you.
Yeah.
It was it was your own. It was the citizens. I'm not talking left, right, or center. I'm talking about the people that were standing there in line with you. They were the ones going, "Oh, the mask is off. Oh, I'm going to get sick, even though I've been vaccinated 18 times." I feel like that's what it turned into.
We turned on each other.
That's exactly it. And you know what? It's carried over. That attitude that was presented during COVID has carried over. Now it's gone to politics. Whereas before it was, you have to save grandma. How dare you not be vaccinated? Oh, I oughta. It's turned into, you're not voting for the person I think you should vote for. Oh, you just want this country to die. And then they go off and they freak out because it goes back to, I've said it, where people are so upset. People are so mad, and they don't even know what they're mad about anymore. They just know that they're pissed off, and they need to have somebody to sit there and scream and yell at, whether it's typing on a keyboard, whether it's calling people at 5:30 in the morning because it's not the radio host that you want it to be, so they're going to keep sitting here and threatening people. Like, they're just so mad, and they don't even know why they're mad. They just know that they like being mad. They want answers to something. They don't know anymore. They just know that they're aggravated and they want to sit there and they want to scream. That's what it is. And it all started, it really came to a head during COVID when Fauci was sitting there giving us exaggerated numbers, sitting there pushing this narrative forward. And then you had the people on the media sitting there and going, oh, well, you have to follow along to really make sure that we save grandma. And then the government went along with it. All government went along with it. And then they had the guts to sit there and say that this is the greatest thing ever. You got to take this vaccine. And then what did they have the cojones to say when it went to commercial? This report is brought to you by Pfizer. So they sat there and they pushed this agenda. They pushed this propaganda onto whoever they could. That's what they did. That's what needs to be remembered with this. He can plead the fifth all he wants, and he did 111 times. But we can never forget what they did to us. They shut down places of worship. They shut down small businesses. They did everything they could. And I know I'm going to sound like a paranoid guy, but it was all a trial run to see what will it take for us to buck back against. And you could tell me that that's not the case, but look what they're trying to push on us now. Well, yeah, no, we're going to put cameras everywhere. Could you imagine if flock cameras were around during COVID? Like, really think about that. If these flock cameras were around during COVID, how many of you would have been in jail? I would have been in jail. What else could they have pushed along? Well, you weren't wearing, we noticed that you were at the gas station and you weren't wearing a mask. Can you explain why you weren't wearing a mask there? You know, there is a pandemic going on. That would have been the next step had they had flock cameras and all these different things. You had certain people that are running for governor calling for a national registry where they could walk into your house and test you to see if you had immunity. Hello? And that's the Republican. What a scary thought. I mean, really, what a frightening thought. But according to the people that are sitting here and they're defending everything, it was an exaggeration. What were they supposed to do? Well, what they were supposed to do is their job and stand up and make sure that our rights weren't infringed on. That's what they should have done. But I want to see this. I want to know if in Fauci's diary he talks about how COVID only stayed about 5.5 feet in the air because once you sat down in a restaurant, it all disappeared. You were safe. If we would have crawled everywhere, we would have been safe from COVID.
I heard radio hosts say, "Forget about your rights. This is about saving people."
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, we heard that a lot. We heard a lot of people say, "Forget about your rights. We have to save people." Are you kidding me? Grow up. First of all, you know, and I know we got to go to break, so I'm going to say this quickly. We stare at history and we go, how did they let this happen? I can't believe that they let this happen. Well, because you have people that are so entrenched in government, whether it be the state level or the federal level, that they just want to be liked. They just want to go along because they don't want to actually have to think about things because that might be hard to do and they might disagree with what they've been told is right. So what do? They just go along with it. And then they're going to look back in 100 years and they're going to go, how the hell were they walking around with just masks on? How were they walking around saying it's okay for cameras to be up all over the place? Because the moment you give up one freedom, they're coming after the next. This is the Jake Underwood Show. We're going to take a break. We have some people on hold. TJ, I see you there. We're going to get to you as soon as we come back. There are some texts coming in. If you want to join the queue, it's 216-901-0945. Feel free to text in. The number's 866-525-0955. We'll be back right after this.
Your calls, your city, your country. Back to the Jake Underwood Show on AM 1420. The Answer.
Welcome back to the Jake Underwood Show right here, AM 1420, The Answer 102.9 FM. We're on X, Rumble, and YouTube. Just search the Jake Underwood Show, and we're talking about COVID. We're talking about what do we remember? What was it? Because we know that if we don't remember, if we don't keep in mind what happened, it's going to happen again. And we have a lot of comments to get to. Somebody on the Rumble chat, it is 7card21 said, I worked in an old folks home and I had to wear 2 masks and test every other day. Even on my days off, I had to go into work to get tested, and I quit before they made me get the jab. They said, they went on to say, thank God and my man for supporting me so I could quit. Very good. Kudos to you. I mean, good job standing up to it. There are a lot of people who would not, they wouldn't stand up to it. I mean, if you you remember when it was rumored they were going to start asking us down at the other station.
Yeah, I said there was no way I was going to do it. I said I'll have to get fired.
Well, I told them if they want to know my medical history, I want to know theirs.
Yeah.
So let's start off. Have you had herpes? And then it kind of got dropped. Nobody wanted to answer that. Someone else came. Let's see here. Somebody else in the Rumble chat said, my wife and I went on a hike during COVID without masks. Jogger with mask was coming the other way, crossed the street, mental illness on full display. Could you imagine? I mean, just the...
I will say people, including myself, looked better with a mask on.
No, there are some people that look better with a mask on.
There are some women, I was like, oh my God, look at that. And then they take the mask off and forget about it.
Yeah, it's rough.
I'm one of those people.
Let's see, somebody text in, this from Don in Lakewood. He said, my wife and I were told you're killing children for not wearing our masks by friends that we had for years. People were programmed to act that way via fear. 100%. 100%. No, you're spot on. It was a fear. That's exactly what it was. Let's see. This is from James. James texted in. He said, I couldn't stand the small business calls with DeWine and Acton telling owners that their business and cash flow had to be closed. The stress in the voices of American residents, it was saddening. Can't stand DeWine/Acton to this day. I don't blame you. I don't blame you there. Someone else texted in. This is from the 216. They said, I work in a hospital. I work for a hospital that is currently and has in the past throwing out pallets of expired 3M N95 masks, a small fortune down the drain. We all pay for that. How does an N95 mask expire? That's a great question. I don't know that it would expire. I don't know. We'd have to look into that. And then another one from a different 216. The Biden administration and many other influences wanted to experiment with total control over the masses, and it worked. Fear always works for most people. The two ways government knows that they could take advantage of you. It's fear and security. If they can get you to fear something and then offer security, they're going to do it, and it will erode your rights every single time. That's what they will do. Anytime the government can take away something and say, but we could do it better, we promise, we're the government, it's not going to work. Big government makes you small. That's how it works. That's how it's always been. Let's go to TJ in Cleveland. TJ, you're in the air.
Yeah, Jake, I have to admit, I donned one of my masks last week when the Canadians dropped their smoke bomb on us.
That's fair.
When I was outside. But no, watching this thing, this Fauci's the most narcissistic little worm I think I ever seen in my life. And, one question I wish they would have asked him. Do you remember the story last year with them research labs that were running their own puppy mills?
Yeah.
To do horrible experiments on dogs. And Fauci had a hand in this stuff. And I wish they would have asked him. Now, he wouldn't have answered, but I wish they would have brought that to the American people. They were raising dogs to torture, basically. And thank you, Trump administration. They shut them labs down and rescued what dogs were left. But if you want to touch the heartstring of the American people, show them what they were doing to these dogs. And that little worm was behind this research.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you look at, and TJ, thank you for the call. When you look at the history of Anthony Fauci and a lot of the studies that he did, it involved animals, it involved dogs, beagles, which I know that hits Seth. You got a great puppy, you got a great beagle.
Yeah, absolutely. You test beagles, you got a problem,
right? I mean, just dogs in general, like
terrible.
It's awful. Truly, it's awful. Let's go to Cheryl in Wycliffe. Cheryl, you're in the air.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Let's see, a couple things here. During the time when we were all locked down, and I went to Giant Eagle to pick up a few things, was not wearing a mask, got yelled at by an elderly senior man, and told me I was going the wrong way. I said, "What do you mean I'm going the wrong way?" He said, "There's arrows. Look on the floor." I said, "When I go shopping, I don't look on the floor." I said, "What are you telling me? That COVID goes up one way and down another?" I said, "No, thank you."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Did my shopping in a subject. Remember, we were also told that if you wanted to attend any venues like the football games or basketball games, you had to get a vaccine passport.
That's right. Your vaccine passport. Yes.
Okay. That you had to prove that you got the jab.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Several of them. Whatever happened to those? That would be a good thing to check into. And we were name called and everything and said we refuse to get the jab, and no, we don't need a vaccine passport. And then this is even worse. So my son-in-law, his father, took the Johnson & Johnson's jab.
Yeah.
Okay? He couldn't get out of bed several weeks later. He fell. A couple times he went to the hospital. And then the last time he went to the hospital, it was at UH downtown. And it was proven by the doctors and the nurses that it was Guillain-Barré syndrome, or in other words, you can call it Guillain-Barré. I am familiar with it because my aunt, back in the early 70s, received a swine flu vaccine.
Okay.
And months and months down the road, she came down with Guillain-Barré syndrome. She had to learn to walk all over again, write all over again, drive a car all over again, and had a little toddler at the time. So no one, that we were the experiments. The people were the experiment.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
That's the sad part. And innocent people in nursing homes, the elderly or some young people who were sick and had to be in a nursing home and live there, we are human. We want touch. We want eye contact.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We were unable to do that. What? We couldn't wear a mask or a gown and go in and visit a loved one for about 15, 20 minutes. No, you had to stand outside and wave at them. And here's one last thing, and then I'll let you go.
Mm-hmm.
I think hyper-faced Dr. Amy Acton needs to be held accountable also in this state of Ohio and brought up on some type of charges, her and DeWine, for locking us down and doing what she did.
No, Cheryl, thank you for the call. We have to go to break. And yeah, no, I don't disagree. I want some answers. I think we deserve answers. And honestly, and I brought it up about, Vivek. I want answers on that too. From both candidates, I want answers about the COVID response because they were both advising or in charge of it. This is the Jake Underwood Show. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll continue talking about this. AC, I see you on hold there. We'll get to you as soon as we come back. This is the Jake Underwood Show.
AM 1420, The Answer.
Welcome back to the Jake Underwood Show right here, AM 1420, The Answer. It is Thursday, my dudes, and it is July 30th in the beautiful year that is 2026 in the greatest Cleveland area. This is the Jake Underwood Show. I am Jake Underwood. The man behind the glass is one Mr. Seth Williams. Hello, Seth.
Good morning, my friend.
How's it going over there?
Fantastic.
Very good. Very good. I'm glad to hear that. We have some text to catch up on, and then we're going to get to some callers here. Let's see. Somebody texted and said, almost 5 years later, I have two older brothers that no longer speak to my sister and I. They once adored us. See, that's heartbreaking. That's the saddest part of all of this, is just how that, I mean, it just ripped people apart. Yeah, it just ripped people apart, and it's really sad to think about. And it was heartbreaking to watch.
I had family like that.
Yeah.
Still to this day, when I told them about what happened yesterday, they say, well, he did what he had to do. No, he didn't.
Yeah. No, yeah, I don't understand that he did what he had to do. Like, look, it doesn't matter if they're Republican or Democrat. Ultimately, they're accountable to us. I think that's the part that's being forgotten. We're not accountable to the party. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's at the federal level, the state level, if it's the Democrats or it's the Republicans. We're not accountable to any party. We don't have to answer to the party. The party has to answer to us. And the same with the politicians. The politicians have to answer to us, whether it's a candidate or whatever it may be. So to sit here and enable somebody to not give answers, I can't agree with that. And you know what? Even if this were somebody that was a Republican, I would feel the same way. We deserve to know answers here.
There was a female senator yesterday. I can't remember what her name was. And she said, but it was Republican.
Yeah, from Florida. I can't think of her name either.
But she said, Florida. I have to go back to my boss.
Yep.
And tell them what you said. And she was referring to her boss as the people that elected her.
That's right.
And she was upset she was not getting answers for the people. That was good, refreshing to hear.
Yeah. Yep. Somebody else texted in and said, I'm starting to see Amy Acton signs popping up in my hood. Are they pandering to a certain demographic? Not really. Not based on what I'm seeing. I mean, the Acton campaign, I mean, they're meeting, like, I'm trying to think here. No, because I mean, they're meeting in like African-American neighborhoods, but on the other side, Vivek, he's meeting with black pastors. So, I mean, they're both, they're both doing the same things here. But I mean, they're both doing it. It's just the message is going to hit more with one than the other. I guess as we get closer to the election season, we'll find out based on how many signs we see. But just keep in mind, don't get too crazy when you see signs. Signs don't necessarily mean votes. That's the main thing to remember. Let's see. Let's go to AC. He is in Cleveland. AC, you are in the air.
Hi, Jake.
Hello, AC.
Jake, I've got some shocking information for you.
Okay.
And the listener. The COVID era was a foreshadowing of the 7-year tribulation period that's going to come. And I'm going to tell you who let it happen. God. God let it happen to warn us. You couldn't buy or sell in person without a mask. Revelation 13:17 says that no man might buy or sell without the mark of the beast. Okay? The vaccine was a type of the mark of the beast. Company said, you can't work here unless you're vaccinated. Okay? And Dr. Fauci was a foreshadowing of the false prophet of Revelation 13. Revelation 16:15 says the false prophet had power to give life unto the image. Well, Fauci gave life unto the image of the narrative. You're going to kill grandma if you're not vaccinated.
Right, yeah.
You have COVID with no symptoms. Remember Dr. Labcoat, who's running for governor? You have it, okay? You have it. No symptoms, but you still have it.
Yeah.
Okay? You must be vaccinated to work here, to be in the hospital, to see your relatives. Churches were shut down. Choirs were forbidden to sing. But I'll tell you, you were okay. You couldn't get COVID. There's two places you couldn't get COVID, Jake.
Yeah.
In the abortion clinics and in the marijuana dispensaries. How about that? Those were safe harbors.
Right.
Okay? And like you just said, this divided family and friends, and that's what, when the mark of the beast is instituted, people are going to have to decide whether they're going to take the mark or not, and if they take that mark, they're going to be damned forever.
AC, thank you for the call. That's interesting. I mean, everything he's saying, it makes sense. It lines up. Like I've said, I hate that it ripped the families apart the way that it did. I really do. That's the part that like when I think back to it, that's the part that upsets me the most, is that we allowed it to divide as much as we did. And like I said, people are still aggravated about it. And look, I know a lot of people, they're hammering Amy Acton on this because she was one of the voices on it, and it rightfully so. And I'm going to say this. If I have the opportunity to talk to Amy Acton and interview her, I am absolutely asking her about this, because we deserve to know. The same way I would ask anybody that was involved with it at that time those questions. Because we deserve to know. And you know what? I might not like the answer, but Seth, let me pick your brain on this. If we ask that question and they go, look, we probably shouldn't have gone to the extreme that we did. We were being told that, up to 100,000 people might die a week. And it was wrong that we did that. Looking back, we would have handled it differently. I don't know that I like that answer, but I guess in a way I'll accept it, because at least they're looking at it and going, yeah, we didn't do that right. I don't know. I mean, is that too lax out of me?
For somebody like Amy Acton, I think it is, because she was the one giving the numbers, and she was a doctor, and we relied on her. People relied on her for their lives, and we were lied to. And I'm just playing devil's advocate here, and I'll also give the answer to what I'm saying here. So what if, because we talk about it a lot with Iran, right? So, and remember, if we think about it one way, we got to think about it the other. So with Iran, what do we always say? Well, we had to do it. We had to do it because what if they got a nuke, right? That's what we say. So on the flip side of that, is it acceptable? I'm just asking if it's acceptable to be able to look at that and go, well, we had to do it because what if it was 100,000 people that were going to die in a week or a month or whatever the crazy numbers were that were put out there? What if it was? Wouldn't you rather it be safe than sorry? Because that's the way we look at it with Iran. That's the way we look at it with other things when it comes to spending money and doing all of that with war. So why wouldn't we have that same mindset with that? I would like her to at least say what you said. We felt like we had to do it.
Yeah.
But then say, I'm sorry that we were wrong. I'm sorry that we made some of the decisions that we made.
Okay.
I'm sorry that we put kids in the situation that they were put into. I thought I was doing the right thing at the time, but I wasn't.
So let me ask you this. And this is just your opinion and my opinion. We're just kind of spitballing here. And if you disagree, feel free to call in 216-901-0945 or text us if you're working right now, 866-525-0955. Does the Trump administration, do they also carry some of the blame for this? Because they were also
Absolutely.
out there giving numbers and they were listening to Dr. Fauci.
And Dr. Birx and all those people.
Right.
Absolutely. Look, I've said it since he came out with the vaccine. It's not a vaccine. I hate calling it a vaccine. It's technology. It's mRNA technology. It's gene therapy. It's not an actual vaccine. But since he came out with that and started telling people, take it, I felt like he was doing it because the election was there.
Yeah.
And they kind of screwed him, because if he would have come out with the vaccine before the election, he probably would have won. But he was wrong for what he did. He was wrong for pushing it the way that he was pushing it. Now, Biden took it a step further and said, hey, take it or else.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think Trump would have done that?
I don't know.
Because I'm going to be honest.
I don't know.
I think in the moment, I can't say for sure, but based on the way that he's praised the Operation Warp Speed, it's the greatest thing.
Yeah, but
it's incredible. I think we would have seen that. I don't know if it would have been as consistent as it was with Biden, where every time he was going up there, he was saying to take the vaccine. But I think we were headed down that path with either party. I'm going to be honest there.
I agree with you.
And the reason why I'm saying that is because Look at the way that they're partnering with pharma and those companies now, and look at the way that they were teaming up with them then. And it's both sides doing it because there's a lot of money involved, and you have to remember the narrative. I talk about it a lot, but you have to remember the context of the moment. And the context of that moment was, if we don't do this, innocent people are going to die at crazy rates. And we were hearing it every day at 2 o'clock from our local governments here in the state of Ohio. We were hearing it what was it? It was like every other day there seemed to be a White House press conference. So like I said, I'm not shifting blame. I'm not trying to do anything like that. All I'm saying is, if we're going to say the one side was wrong for doing this, or the certain party was wrong for doing it this way, well, then we kind of have to look at the other side too. Because
they all did it.
That's exactly right. Because every one of them did it. And that's what I'm saying. This is the Jake Underwood Show. We'll continue to talk about this. Robert in Strongsville, I see you on hold there. We're going to get to you when we come back. This is the Jake Underwood Show. AM 1420, The Answer, 102.9 FM. We're on X, Rumble, and YouTube. We're talking about, honestly, really, the fallout from yesterday, and that's led us down the path of what do you remember from COVID? And we're coming to the conclusion here. And look, how do I want to say this? Let me think here. I get wanting to be upset with one side over the other because you don't want to think that your side had anything to do with this. But as we're sitting here and we're talking about it, there were decisions made on all sides. So for me, the question is this: do we hold all sides accountable? Because we can't just hold one side accountable. Like, everyone was involved with that. But when it comes to Dr. Fauci, he was the one leading the charge. He was. And I will give President Trump this. He did leave it up to the states. He did leave it up to the states. They could determine their own thing based on the signs that they had.
Yeah, unfortunately, we had DeWine.
Right. So. Somebody texted in and said Trump made bad decisions too, like the ventilators. Ventilators killed a lot of people. Nobody knew what to do, including myself. If we were smart, we would have left it in God's hands and our natural immunity. I, too, fail to trust in the Lord. You know what? We all fall short. That's where I'm at. When it comes to if we're looking at it from that perspective, we all fall short. Let's go to Robert in Strongsville. Robert, you are in the air.
Yeah, the diary suggests that Fauci didn't know the source of the virus. He talks about conspiracy theories in January of 2020. Here's what he said. I suggest that we get a larger group of qualified evolutionary biologists together under the auspices of a convening body and carefully look at this. He's talking about the conspiracy theory. So he says that right in his own diary. And that suggests he didn't know the source of it.
And you said that was in what, January of 2020?
Yeah, January 2020 of his diary. And, you know, that was such a complex time then. I don't think we should put blame on people because nobody knew what was going on. When it first broke in China, I suggested that we stop all airplane and all flights into the United States before it even hit the United States.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah, but our government wasn't savvy enough and didn't take what was happening in China seriously enough. I think we could have stopped it at first. Larry Kudlow came out and said, we got this under control. I don't know if you remember that. That was in February. Yeah, I said, don't worry about this. We're here. We're the government. We got this under control.
Right, which means they never have it under control, and exactly what happened was going to happen. That's exactly right. And Robert, thank you for the call. He's right. That's just it. And I mean I remember seeing the footage of the stuff happening in China. In fact, I'll tell you, I remember, and Seth's involved in this memory. I'll see if he remembers. So the big guy who we all were kind of working for at the time, he called and he was having us look up stuff, and I was following a lot of news accounts at that time they were kind of the underground news people, and now they're kind of more mainstream. But it was either late November or early December. I kept seeing those videos pop up where they're welding apartment doors shut in China.
On YouTube and stuff. Those videos were all over the place.
Right. And I remember showing them to you, and I go, this is going to get really bad. And you're like, yeah? And I showed you the video, and you're like, I got to tell Triv about that. And then it was one of those where we were like, do we, don't we? How do we do it? And I just passed the information along. But I remember seeing that, and that's when I went around. I was telling people, we're going to be laid off. We're going to be laid off by it was April 1st. I kept telling people. They're like, okay, sure, whatever you say. And I'm like, we're going to be laid off.
And at first, most people didn't believe what we were saying.
Yeah. They thought we were nuts.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, how crazy does that sound? Especially because at that moment in time, they just got done laying off a bunch of people. And here I am going, we're all going to be laid off. They're going to end up cutting. They're going to end up cutting more jobs. We're going to lose a lot of money from this. And we saw. I saw it coming. I saw the patterns and everything that was going on.
I never saw videos like that before in my life.
No, it was
the government shutting people's doors.
Could you imagine? And here's the thing. And I asked the question again, and this is why the things like flock cameras and the AI data centers and all this different stuff. This is that because my mind jumps to that. Seth, could you imagine Or to you listening, could you imagine how much more strict it would have been if they had flock cameras? If they were able to, as you're driving down the road and they see you don't have a mask on, do you get followed then? Do you get a phone call? Do you get a letter? Hey, we noticed you were out. You didn't have your mask on. So at that point in time, they didn't have the chance to do that. But if it happens again, and we got these flock cameras everywhere, they're going to be able to do it then. Then what do we do? Then
It was
what?
a scary thought.
Like that's what I'm saying. Because two things can be true. Two things can absolutely be true. You can say it helps get, knock down crime and it's going to help police. And that is true. But you can also say that we give up a lot of what we're able to do. Two things can be true at the same time. And that's what I see with that. And that's immediately where my mind went. As soon as the flock camera stuff really started to become more relevant, I'm going, could you imagine if this was around during COVID? Really, could you imagine? When we were standing outside checking the temperature, and if there was a flock camera in the parking lot, the next day when we go out there to do the same thing, we're going to have police roll up and go, hey, guys, make sure you're social distancing. Make sure you're doing that.
Yeah, most likely we would have. Yeah.
So that's where the fear for me comes in with all of this. That's where I get concerns from this, because I'm going, the reason why we had the freedoms we did is because it wasn't out there. They weren't able to just track everything that they wanted. And you could say what you want about phones and all this stuff. My phone wasn't telling me if I was walking into a store without a mask. But you know what did? The cameras. You know what would have seen it? That flock camera as I was walking through the parking lot. That's where my mind goes. It's those individual liberties like that go away. But like I said, two things can be true at once. It can help police. It can help immigration to make sure that they find the people that are here illegally and they can get them out. I'm not denying that. But I'm saying I don't know if that outweighs the freedoms we would give up in the long run. That's the scariest part to me. That and then to give up farmland and possibly water to store all of the data when that's going to be outdated in 5 to 10 years, and we're just going to have giant warehouses sitting on this farmland. Well, then what? We can't let fear drive our decision making. We can't do it. That is the last thing we could do, because we saw what happened when that happens. The government, it just gets bigger and it never gives it back to you. Never does. And it's never going to. Once they get it, they're holding on to it. They're going to hold on to it like a baby to a blankie. They're boom, right there. Like a running back with the football. They're holding it. So they're never going to give it back. It's almost like, isn't it funny how, taxes, they always increase. But when they decrease, we never really notice a difference. One time in my life, it was the first round of Trump cuts. It's the only time I went, wow, I got more in my paycheck. But since then, when we get tax cuts, do you notice? I don't notice. It's kind of like that. Once they get money, once they get control, they'll never give it back. If you want an example, look at the way the elections are handled. And what do I mean by that? I mean, whether it's a party or it's the government themselves, once they know they can tell you what to do, boy, are they going to do it. And they're going to hold on as long as they can. It's a scary thought. But we'll see. Well, with Dr. Fauci, there's going to be a vote on it supposedly next week in a hearing. They're going to have a hearing about whether or not he's going to be held in contempt. I don't know. We'll see. We're going to take a break. When we come back, there's some stuff being introduced. We're going to talk about it. Should 16-year-olds be able to vote in the state of Ohio? There's a resolution that says they should be able to. We'll break that down for you when we come back. This is the Jake Underwood Show. We're going to get a check on news. We'll be back right after this.
Twitter or X or whatever it is these days. This is live, local radio, where facts matter, opinions are welcome, and politicians don't get a free pass. This is the Jake Underwood Show on AM 1420. The Answer.
Welcome into hour number 3 of the Jake Underwood Show right here, AM 1420, The Answer, 102.9 FM. We are live. You can watch behind the scenes on Rumble, X, YouTube. We're also on TikTok. Just search the Jake Underwood Show. And I want to get through some of the comments that I missed because they're in the Rumble chat, and I apologize for missing those. Someone said, it's all a part of a bigger plan that started 40 years ago to destroy the country from within. Jim Traffickin warned about this, and everybody thought he was crazy. They will never admit it, as that's a for sure way to lose. I think you're spot on. Look, the government's always going to do what they can to get the most control that they can. That you have to remember that. They're going to do whatever they can to get the most control. Now, whether that is through fear, through science, whatever it might be, that's what they're going to do to make sure that people rely on the government. That's what it is. They want to make sure that you have to rely on the government no matter what. So they're gonna tell you whether it's an election, they're going to talk about how evil one side is opposed to the other. They're going to talk about how bad the one is to the other. That's a cool picture. Seth just sent me a picture of himself with Jim Traffickin, where his hair may have been fake, but his heart was real.
He was really actually a fun guy to hang out with.
Yeah, no, he was the real deal. I follow a lot of Youngstown pages just for different news and stuff out there.
Yeah.
And there's one that pops up all the time. It's Youngstown. It's Youngstown Mob. And man, was he outspoken about that.
Yeah.
Man, he was legitness. Yeah, he was, huh? So we're going to talk about this a new resolution that's being introduced. This might make people lose their minds a little bit, but I will say this: the reasoning behind it, when they said it, I went, you know what? Okay, you have my attention. So what's being introduced? This is by the representative for North Olmsted and Parma. They are both Democrats, but hear me out here. I'm not saying that I agree with it, but the reasoning behind it, okay, I'll listen. So their proposal is to let 16-year-olds in Ohio vote. I know. I laughed also. But they made the argument that right now, because if you're working at 16, what are you getting? A paycheck. And what's taken out of that paycheck, Seth?
Taxes.
So it's taxation without representation. Right. You and I made the same face of the, well, kinda. I'm not. They said if you're old enough to work and to pay taxes, you should have representation.
Okay, but you're not old enough to get out of school and leave your parents' homes and do your own thing. I mean, 18 is generally the time when you're done with high school and it's time to move on to be an adult. You don't have to have a job when you're 16 years old.
Well, now hold on, Seth. What do you mean you don't have to have a job when you're 16 years old? What, are you lazy? This is the problem with the generation. They expect not to work, eat their avocado toast, and this is why they don't have houses.
Just saying, my daughter got a job because she wanted to get a job.
Right.
Not because she had to get a job. She was taken care of by us, and
but
she wanted to get a job to make some money for herself.
Right.
Which is fine. But she's not an adult.
But was she getting taxed?
Yeah, but again, it wasn't a necessity. When you're 18, you're out of school, you're time to move on your own, you have to have a job.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, you don't have to, but yes, you should. You should have a job at 18. I had 2 jobs at 18.
I mean, I think 18 is too young to vote, to be honest with you.
You think 18 is too young to vote?
Oh, yeah.
See,
I pushed it to 21.
I'll be honest, it's kind of the opposite for me, and I'll tell you why. Because I think if you're old enough to fight for this country, if you're old enough to go and sacrifice your life, you should be able to vote. And to be fair, I feel that same way about drinking. If you're old enough to go fight for this country, you should be able to come back and have a beer. That's just the way that I feel about it. Like you're putting your life on the line for us, and you come back, you're not allowed to have a Bud Light. Come on, that sounds ridiculous. But when it comes to it, listen.
Do you think the brain is mentally able to make those kind of decisions at 16 years old?
So someone commented on and said that the 16-year-olds need the job for the avocado toast. Duh, that's very funny. But what was your question about 16?
Do you think the brain is developed enough to make those kind of decisions? I think voting is a decision that you have to make with a clear head and some knowledge.
I mean, look, I'm not.
Even though there's a lot of people that vote that don't have knowledge.
Well, look, this is what I'm going to say about that. I've been and I've caught flack for this a few times when I've said that this is my take. I think the way that it should go is at 16, because the whole thing is, are you old? I don't know. Do you think if you could drive, you can vote?
I don't trust my daughter to do either one.
But legally, is she old enough to do it?
She's legally old enough to drive and vote now. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, that would be the question that I ask, because, look, and I've said this before, this would be if I got a call from Governor DeWine and he was like, Jake, I really want to pick your brain on the 16-year-olds and their rights, because of what we see happen with car accidents and different things, what I would propose, because of the smartphones and everything that go along with it, with you've seen the stress, we've seen the anxiety that social media and different things cause. We've seen it numerous times, studies and everything else done on it. I would almost make it a rule that at 16, you either get a smartphone and whatever, or your driver's license, and whatever you don't get at 16, you could get at 18. Now, obviously, the reason they want the 16-year-olds to vote is because they got the emotional grift going. They are the students that are walking out during school, holding the signs. We all must have our voices heard. And so they control the narrative there through the teachers' unions and different things. That's why they want the 16-year-olds to vote. But it comes down to, if a 16-year-old is working and they're getting taxed, is it taxation without representation? I mean, based on just the basic terms, it absolutely is. So now the question becomes, and this they would never go for because it's the government and they want to take every penny that they can. So then at the opposite side of this, should a 16-year-old get taxed? Because I would almost argue, we talk about these Trump accounts. Why don't we, if you're a 16-year-old and you're working, the money still gets taken out, but why don't they put it into an account that automatically invests in the market? You get access to it when you're 18. Almost a 401k type situation where it's the market that dictates what they can and can't do. Like that, though, because I don't know how I feel about a 16-year-old voting, but when you bring up the fact that they are taxed, it makes sense. We have a text that says, I think if you're under 18, you should not be taxed, or it should be automatically put into a retirement fund. See, I agree with that. Because, I mean, look, we're at the point now where government's getting involved with everything, so it might as well benefit people a little bit, because of the different things that we're seeing. But I think it was an interesting point. Now, I will say this. There are plenty of people, myself included, that look at this and I go, they're not old enough to vote. But if they're old enough to be taxed, are they old enough to vote?
I agree with you. And I like the account idea that you have, but
yeah,
I don't think anybody's going to go for it. It'd
be
too difficult to probably do.
See, yeah, that would have to be a state thing. So if the state wanted to do that, but are we going to trust the state to do that?
I say what we do is take that money, put it towards property taxes.
No.
Or schools.
No.
Put it towards schools, because the kids are going to school anyways.
No, you know what we should do, and I know we have a break coming up. We should take that money, and instead of it going to taxes, let's build stadiums with it. Let's build even more.
It's a good idea.
Yeah. No, let's just build another stadium.
Progressive Field's getting kind of old.
It is.
I would put a new one up.
I mean, I'm older than Progressive Field. That means it's too old. That's what that means. 1995 or 94 or 95 is when it opened. Too old. It has a 9 in front of it. Get rid of it. It's terrible. Can't do it.
I think you're being facetious, but I think a new stadium would be great.
I am being facetious, but if you don't think that's the next one to come down the pipeline of, hey, we need a new one or we're out of here, you're out of your mind. Well, we just spent $300 million on renovations. Yeah, I know. So, yeah, we have some people calling in. We'll get the opinions. We have George and Rick. You both are on hold. We're going to get to you as soon as we come back from the break. 16-year-olds, should they be able to vote? And if you go, absolutely not, that's crazy. I don't disagree with you, but if they're working, they're getting taxed, and that's taxation without representation. I'll tell you this, you want to get those kids to work. Tell them if you're working and you get taxed, you can vote. You might see a lot of people starting to work. This is the Jake Underwood Show. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Jake Underwood Show right here, AM 1420 The Answer, 102.9 FM. We're on X, Rumble. We're also on YouTube. We got a lot of text to catch up on, and we're going to catch up on some, and then we'll get to the Rick and George we see on hold there. Someone texted in and said, flip the logic. For those that aren't paying taxes, they should not be able to vote. Not fair that they can vote for higher tax on us working folks. Honestly, I'm not completely against that. I'm willing to listen to that. I'm not against that at all, honestly. That makes sense. But then you get into the argument of then renters can't vote either. Because renters shouldn't be able to vote on things because it's going to increase property tax. But then on the flip side of that, see, now this is where I argue with myself. But then on the flip side of that, technically, rent goes up sometimes and property tax goes up. So they are paying it, just not directly. It's indirectly. And if you ever wanted to know what my mind is like, that's my mind constantly. Where
it's worse than that.
What, my mind?
If they saw you during the breaks, forget about it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they can on the if you go and find us on TikTok. Someone said, WTF, they get state and federal refunded. Is that true? I can't remember. I don't know if it was like that when I was there. And then somebody else called in during the break, Jim from Westlake called in and said, they are getting something. It's going towards Social Security. I thought Social Security was going to dry up in 5 years. That's what everybody's saying. So it's not going towards that. Like, I fully expect people my age, when we're supposed to get Social Security, there's going to be nothing there. It's just that's just the way it's going to go.
I don't think there's going to be any for me.
Honestly. Like that's what I'm saying. John texted in. He said they want kids to vote so they can be manipulated into voting for school levies, as well as the leftist cause is being taught. Look, I'm not disagreeing with that. I touched on that a little bit. I think that's absolutely right. I think that's right. I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, if you get more people to vote for the causes that you support, you're going to do it. But I think here's the thing. It's that inherent American just spirit of rebellion. It's gonna fire. It's gonna go back on them. You're gonna have people that go, yeah, no, I went along with it there, but they're gonna start rebelling against it just because that's our nature as Americans. Let's see. Steven texted in. He said, "Hi, Jake. I apologize if this has been discussed, but I could see one problem letting these students vote. We already have problems with students trying to be indoctrinated by the liberal left in the school system. Could you imagine what it's going to turn into now if this passes, considering the fact that this would be the number one target for the liberals voting?" Yeah, you're not wrong. No, I agree with that completely. And that is a concern. I think that's a reasonable concern. But I ask again, then what should it be? Because if 16-year-olds are getting taxed, and technically it is taxation without representation. I mean, that's just a fact of it. That's all I'm saying. Let's see. Let's go to George in Ohio City. George, you're in the air.
Yeah, what about child stars like Shirley Temple, who was 4 years old? Is he allowed to vote too?
Ooh.
People like that. Number one. Number two, functionally, under 18 do not pay any taxes because federally your first $15,000 are exempt. Statewide, your first $45,000 are exempt. City taxes are exempt until you hit 18, and you are paying Social Security and Medicare, and technically you are in the system. It pays out or not. I think Seth is wrong. I think eventually, even if you're paid out at $3,000 a month, I mean, a loaf of bread might be $100, but everybody will get their money, whether it's inflated or not, or correct amount. They'll still get it. They'll break the system through inflation. But functionally, children or people under 18 do not pay taxes. They pay Social Security, Medicare, they're in the system, and the numbers are high for exemption purposes.
Okay.
And again, you want child stars like Shirley Temple, voting at age 4. So,
George, thank you for the call. That's a really good point.
That is a good point.
Yeah, Shirley Temple should be able to vote because she's paying taxes. Well, not now, but back then.
The stupid Home Alone kid is gonna.
Oh, don't go at Macaulay Culkin. There's no reason to do that.
Oh, he's stupid.
Why is he stupid? He played Richie Rich. Stop it.
His career completely failed after he was like 8.
He married Brenda Song. I wouldn't say that it was a failure.
I would consider it a failure.
Yeah, all right.
But anyways, I don't want that kid voting.
No, I mean that's a good point by George. That's a great point by George. I mean, where does it? I didn't think about that. Yeah, I wouldn't want a 5-year-old voting. You know, I wouldn't want one of the kids from Nickelodeon to vote. It doesn't make any sense. They're going to be manipulated. That's just how that works. Let's see. Let's go to Rick. Rick is in Elyria. Rick, you're in the air.
Yeah, I want to make a comment about 18-year-olds being able to go to war and to be able to drink.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you 100%. Let them vote. Let's put but on one condition: when they go to the draft or the military, they enlist. They go through boot camp, and then they're fully enlisted. Then they can drink and vote. Until then, no.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good point. And Rick, thank you for the call. I agree with that. See, it's always kind of rubbed me the wrong way about the 18-year-olds that can't. That you're saying, yeah, you could vote, you could go off to war, but drinking, that's where we draw the line. Didn't they back in the day? They had the 2/3. Was that what it was? The 2/3 beer. Remember that correctly?
Yeah.
What happened to that? Did you ever partake in a 2/3 beer there, Seth?
Not willingly.
No. That's not willingly is a really good answer. But yeah, George brought up a good point. If a 4-year-old actress or actor, if they're working, whatever they might be doing, and they get taxed, should they be able to vote? And I mean, now to be fair, it's a proposal right now. So it's a proposal. It would be a part of, they've introduced, it's a House Joint Resolution 8. And this is what's proposing that the Ohio Constitution to lower the voting age from 18 to 16. So just, something to keep an eye on. I know I'm going to keep an eye on it, but it's interesting to me to say the least. Let's see. We have some text messages here. Someone texted and said, "We sure Shirley Temple isn't still voting. She was a California resident." Well said. That's a great question. We'll have to check the voter rolls and see. Yes.
Real quick.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the voting or the military age was reduced to 18 in 1942, specifically for World War II. They wanted younger people to join.
Yes.
And it's been that way ever since.
Yes.
So we needed soldiers for back then, especially young men that were able to fight.
Oh boy, where are we going here?
So I think that it hasn't been. It was older than that before.
Yeah.
So it hasn't been changed back. I mean, the whole theory about having a beer, I don't think it flies for me. It was just lowered because of that.
So do you think it should stay 18 or should it go back up?
Either that, raise it back up to 21, or I mean, what do you need a beer for?
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, and even
the right to vote is a lot more valuable than having a beer.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but what I am saying is that if somebody's old enough to go and fight for the country, they should be old enough to come back here and have the freedoms of an adult. You're going to put a gun in their hand and tell you to defend this country like they're an adult. They should be able to come back here and live life as an adult.
I just think that because you have a beer doesn't make you more of an adult.
Well, no, but
we're talking about a mind-altering substance that,
and war isn't.
I've never been to war. I'm sure it has effects on people, without a doubt.
This is real quick. We got to go to break. We'll continue this discussion when we come back. What do you think? What do you think about 18-year-olds? If they're old enough to go fight and represent our country in the military, I think they should be able to come back and live with the freedoms of everyone else. That's all I'm saying. This is the Jake Underwood Show. We'll be back right after this.
show? Call in and join us. The Jake Underwood Show, live and local on AM 1420. The Answer.
Welcome back to the final half an hour of the Jake Underwood Show right here. AM 1420, The Answer, 102.9 FM. Someone texted in and said the communists would love child labor. And then they followed up and said, and hookers too. So, whoa, hey now, wait a second.
Hey, all right.
Hey, all right now.
Maybe I'm a communist.
Let's see. Someone said, Jake, it was 3.2 beer, as in 3.2%. What did I say? Did I say 2/3 beer?
2.3.
No, 2/3.
I didn't know that. Jim from West Park called and told me that.
Did he? All right. Well, thank you.
That's the third time he's called it, though.
Hey.
It's something you've done wrong.
Well, you know what? Hey, to be fair, I say it. I say it all the time. If I'm wrong, tell me. And he does. So, I appreciate it.
Jim is keeping score.
Oh, well, then we got to start making bets over under. How many times am I going to mess up? There'll be a lot of winners. So we're talking about 16-year-olds and this new legislation, that's this proposal, I should say, that's been introduced that lets 16-year-olds vote. Now, the whole argument with it, and we've had calls that bring pretty good counterpoints with what they're saying. So this is from Representative Chris Glassburn. He's a Democrat. He's in the North Olmsted area. And then we also have Sean Brennan. He's a Democrat from the Parma area. And they're saying that the argument, this is Glassburn's argument, he told, this is courtesy of Channel 5 News. He said, if you're not old enough, it says, if you're old enough to work and pay taxes, you should have representation. He told 5 News that if 16 and 17-year-olds are paying taxes, they should get a say in where that money goes.
Well, if they're paying taxes, then maybe they should be allowed to have a beer too.
Well, no, that doesn't make any sense.
Well, you're saying 18-year-olds can have a beer.
Well, I'm saying 18-year-olds can have a beer because they're going to fight in wars.
Is it really that different between 16 and 18? What's the age of consent for sex? And
I don't know. That's a Chris Hansen question. What are you doing here? Have a seat.
It's 16, I believe it is 16.
That's
age of
that's
consent.
crazy. Okay, yeah.
Then if you're old enough to have sex and reproduce, then you should be old enough to vote and have a beer.
No.
Why?
No, because
you're old enough to technically be a dad, I guess.
Because war, going and fighting for your country is completely different
than raising a child.
I
What's more adult than raising a child?
I'm not. It's not. It's gonna. Well, because if a 16-year-old does it, it's looked as something that is not normal unless you're watching 16 and Pregnant on MTV, which it's so.
Hold on, that normalizes it.
No. It's so abnormal that they made a television show about it. They're not making television shows called 18 and in the military because that's a regular thing.
But it's still age of consent. You're still having adult topics that you're allowed to do. Why not make them all adult topics?
Well, because I don't think that makes sense.
So a 17-year-old can't have a beer, but an 18-year-old can.
Yeah.
Your brain is that much different between 17 and 18.
All right, so then you want 16-year-olds to vote. Because what's the difference
Let's
between
do it all
16
if we're
and
gonna
18?
lump it all together.
Well, no, we're not lumping it all
I'm
together.
lumping it all together. You want to be an adult, you want to vote, you want everything, sex and everything, all at once. 16, do whatever you want.
I don't agree with that one.
I would have kicked my daughter out of the house. 16. I'm not. Saved me a lot of money.
Well, I'm not saying that either. Oh my gosh, could you imagine if that were the case? If at 16, people were getting kicked out. Imagine. Oh my goodness. I
mean, of course, I'm being.
No, you are. You're being
stupid.
Yeah,
here.
you're being facetious. But I mean, just real quick, could you imagine if that's what this would lead to? Let's say hypothetically, it gets, because I'm pretty sure this would be put on the ballot. So now that's the real question. If this gets put on a ballot, I don't think it would be this year. But let's say next May. Well, it would pass if it was next May, if it were a midterm, like a primary, because people don't show up in May. Only one side shows up in May. But let's say it's next November and it's put on the ballot. You think this gets passed? Do you think Ohio voters? Now I want you get out of where the circle that you're in. Think outside that circle. We got to go way outside the circle. I think it passes.
I do too.
I do. Yeah,
we voted in marijuana. We voted in abortion.
I think it passes, and I think the way that it passes is the messaging of who better to determine what happens to the schools than the students. And everybody goes, "Oh, it's the children. What about the children?" And they all tear up, and it's like that old PSA The Native American chief turning around, one teardrop down the eye, except it's a kid at a Friday night football game at the homecoming. And the kid turns around, one single tear. And you can't tell if it's a male or female because it's a they. Because they have to make it all encompassing. That's how that works. What about the children? Because, I mean, ultimately, that's their fallback on all of this. I mean, even with the abortion issue, it was, what about the children? That's what they do. That's their fallback. And listen, I get it. I say it a lot. We got to start looking out for kids, but we got to start looking out for kids the right way. We haven't been for a while. We got to make sure the education is the best that it can be. That's the main thing. That, to me, is what it needs to be. No opinion. None of that. We just have to make sure that when it's put out there, and it's factual, whether it's history, whether it's math, whatever it might be. I would almost, I think overall a 16-year-old should not vote. And I thought George brought up a great point with the Shirley Temple stuff. You know, a child actor or actress. Like, how far is this going to go? Now, it would be a state thing. But I unfortunately, I think if it's put on a ballot, I think it passes. I absolutely think that it passes. But I don't agree with it.
But if it can't be a state thing.
No, it is a state thing. These
so
are
they can't vote in federal elections then. If it's not a nationwide issue,
yeah,
they shouldn't be allowed to vote for president. If every other state can't do it,
now hold on.
Ohio
Now hold on. No. Now hold on, because, first of all, this is the retaliation to the voter ID thing that's on the ballot in November. That's what this is. It's tit for tat. That's what it is. But so if they have to show ID for the election, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that would work, because if for that, I would actually have to dive into the bill itself and look at the way that it's being introduced. I mean, right now I'm looking at it, Article 5, Section 1. Only a citizen of the United States, which that's crazy to see in there, of the age of 16 years old, who has been a resident of the state, county, township, or ward such time as may be provided by law and has been registered to vote for 30 days, as the qualifications of the elector and is entitled to vote at all elections. No person who lacks those qualifications shall be permitted to vote at any state or local election held in this state. Any elector who fails to vote in at least one election during a period of 4 consecutive years shall cease to be an elector unless the elector again registers to vote. And then this part that's underlined, this is the real important part here. At a primary election, every qualified elector who is or will be on the day of the next general election 16 or more years of age shall be entitled to vote at the primary election. Effective date, it says, if adopted by a majority of the electors voting on this proposal, Section 1 of Article 5 amended by this proposal shall take effect immediately, and the existing version of Section 1, Article 5 of the Constitution of the State of Ohio shall be repealed, effective immediately. So it would just be the state elections. It would just be the state and then local elections, not the federal election. But imagine the impact that that's going to have if that's the case. I mean, things would look different.
Big
think
time.
What's that?
Big time.
Big time different. I don't think this is going to go anywhere. I don't, unless
it worries me.
I'll keep a. Well, let me paraphrase this. If a kid can consent to sex change surgery, it's the best way to say that. Why can't he vote? I mean,
8-year-olds can agree to sex change surgery.
I want to know what happened to no. What happened to no? What happened to parents saying no? I mean that. I mean, when I was a kid, I was told no constantly.
Yeah, hello, yes, me too.
No. Hey, can I cook something? You're 5. No. Hey, can I go outside? No, it's 10 o'clock. Go to bed. Hey, can I order that wrestling pay-per-view? I really want to watch The Rock wrestle Triple H. No. What happened to no? Because what does it turn into today? Well, I don't know how my mental psyche is going to handle that. Oh, I'm sorry, Billy. I'm going to go ahead and do it. Oh, you're sad? Oh, well, let's just fix it right up then. Go ahead and do whatever you want to do. Like what? It's like they're the gatekeeper at the Wizard of Oz. Oh, why didn't you say so? Come on in. Like that's what it's turned into. What happened to no? It's a beautiful thing. Nancy Reagan, that was her motto. Just say no.
My wife says no every night.
Your wife says no. Nancy Reagan says no. I've said no. We've all said no. Everyone has said no. What happened to parents saying no? That's we can blame it on whatever we want. We can blame it on whoever we want. I'm not taking shots at parents here. But, man, some of these parents, you got to say no. Just say no. It's the Jake Underwood Show. We have to go. No. This Jake Underwood Show, we have our final break coming up. We'll put a bow on the show, continue talking about this, do a little recap of what we spoke about today. Don't forget, we do have the after show on Rumble. Search the Jake Underwood Show. That's a Rumble exclusive there. So if you're watching on any other platform right now, head over there. They usually starts about 5 after 12 and goes for half an hour, 20 minutes, half an hour, sometimes 45. This is the Jake Underwood Show. We're going to take our final break, put a bow on the show after this.
talk radio. Some pretend not to. Either way, we're still asking the questions. Back to the Jake Underwood Show on AM 1420. The Answer.
Welcome back to the final segment of this Thursday, July 30th, 2026 edition of the Jake Underwood Show right here on AM 1420 The Answer, 102.9 FM. We're also on X, Rumble, and YouTube. The after show, the Jake Underwood Show after show exclusively on Rumble. We're going to do that after the show today. Seth and I we talk about, what was last episode? We talked about Triv for about 45 minutes. Talked about just working in broadcasting and the different memories that we have there. We really,
who knows what it'll be today?
Yes, who knows what it'll be today. But yeah, we'll dive in a little bit deeper into the different topics that we went through today. Let's see. Chat saying hello, chat. I got 3 different chats going on. Let's see. We got some text messages to catch up on. No. Okay, text messages are acting weird, so hopefully that'll pop back up. I'll read that, but thank you to whoever texted in. So 16 voting. Well, let me ask you this, Seth, because earlier on in the show, because you were worried about having the meeting, so you were kind of quiet. What was your takeaway from the Fauci stuff yesterday? I mean, because I know, and it strikes a chord with me, not only because of the Maha stuff, but and we talked about it a little bit. I remember all of the stuff that was going on. And we kind of had a different aspect to it because we were there in the news. We heard the stuff that was going on. The biggest pet peeve to me was that we would get through a segment and you would hear this report was brought to you by Pfizer. This report was brought to you by Johnson & Johnson. It's like, how are we going to sit here and say that, we're bringing things that are unbiased when we're accepting money from the people, which look, I get it, especially with radio. It's a struggle right now, and we're going to take sponsors from whoever wants to pay. That's just the truth of it. But I mean, what when you look back at that time now, and from the media standpoint, what do you remember from that the most?
What I remember the most is I knew, and I think what a lot of people knew and understood was that this was not a scam because people were dying, people were getting sick, no doubt, but people get sick all the time, and flus go around, and sicknesses go around, and you just kind of handle it. And I thought the reaction to it by the media, especially, was, "Oh my God, we're all going to die."
Yeah, it caused hysteria.
And when you think about the numbers, and one, they admitted that they exaggerated the numbers. I mean, they said, 1 million people died?
Well, yeah.
If they would, and when you think about the scale of the country, 350 million people.
Right.
I mean, Amy Acton had you thinking if you went outside here in Ohio, you were going to get sick. And we have a population of 12 million here.
Right.
And she was saying we're going to get 100,000 cases a day.
And
real quick, it wasn't happening.
Real quick, let's remember it was also Mike DeWine.
I agree.
It was all of the above with that because
without a doubt
they all started pushing it. They all started pushing that narrative.
And so when we were doing what we were doing for a living, we saw a lot of stuff that people didn't see. We saw a lot of different theories that people didn't get to see.
Right.
We weren't force-fed. We got to see behind the scenes a little bit.
Right.
And it frustrated me just watching people like Amy and Mike DeWine just sit there and force you these numbers that were just ridiculous.
Yeah, see, that would
and
be...
they were estimated.
Yeah, that would be my first question. And hopefully, I mean, I would love... And I would be completely fair to Dr. Amy Acton if we get the chance to speak with her. And I'm not going to hammer her on it. I mean, I'm going to ask hard questions, but I'm not going to sit here and when I don't hear what I want to hear, because I would love to hear the answers to that. Like, who gave you the estimates? Like, where did it come from? And what did you do with the estimates once you got them? I mean, was there cross-referencing? Who were advisors? And you know what? Some of that probably can't answer. And I get that. If whoever it might be, whichever candidate, because both were involved. That's why I want to ask the questions that I do about it because we deserve to know. We deserve to have those answers. And to me, that's what was so frustrating about yesterday. It's like, can I get one? Can I just get one inkling of an answer?
I thought that Amy Acton and Mike DeWine ran a campaign of fear.
They did. Yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah.
And I thought yesterday the problem was this guy didn't clear anything up at all.
Mm-hmm.
And he could have. He wasn't going to get in trouble for anything.
Yeah.
I mean, the pardon went back to 2014.
And that's why I kept asking the question. You know, I kept asking the question yesterday, who's he covering up for? The fact that Dr. Fauci won't talk, who is he covering up for?
He's covering up for somebody, or he was going to lie. And if he got caught lying, he could have gotten in trouble.
Yeah, but why lie? That's what I said.
Because you don't want to go from hero to, I'm going to admit that most likely I have the blood of 1 million people on my hands.
Yeah, look, we deserve the truth.
We deserve the truth, but would you admit to that?
I wouldn't have let it get that far in the first place.
Either would I. But now, what are you going to do if you did let it go that far and you couldn't get out of it, and now you're forced with telling people, yes, I'm sorry that a whole bunch of people got sick. I'm sorry you didn't get to see your grandparents before they died, or your parents before they died. How do you take responsibility for that? Even though you're not going to get in trouble, I wouldn't want that people looking at me like that. Somebody's going to kill the guy if he comes out and says...
no, and no, you're right. I mean, if he came out and if he was just like, look, this is all that happened, here's the truth of it all, it would have been bad. It would have been really bad. But I said it yesterday, the truth might be hard to swallow, but it's easier to follow. We deserve to know. And not 50 years from now, not 60 years from now, like we're finding out about JFK and RFK Sr. now. We deserve to know now. That's the main thing. And even at the state level, we deserve to know now. And now is the time that we should be asking those questions, considering who is running for governor. We should be asking those questions. And look, we might not get the answers that we want, but we're going to at least get something. Something. Just give us something so we know.
Yesterday was frustrating. I think next week is going to be even more frustrating.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if next week they hold him in contempt. I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting. Because here's the thing. Like I said, well, that's great. Both sides got to grandstand. What's going to be the result of it? We heard F-bombs. We heard S-bombs. We heard people saying he's the greatest ever. No, he's terrible. We heard all of that. What's the result going to be? Because the clips, chef's kiss. For social media, beautiful. For your campaigns, beautiful. You did it. But what's the result going to be? Real quick, some text messages that came in. Remember that miraculously there were no flu cases during the COVID period. Absolutely right. And somebody said Fauci's pardon is only federal. State charges are still possible. Good point. This has been the Jake Underwood Show. Thank you for joining us. If you let us into your homes, your cars, your work, you're halfway through the day, your work day, tell someone about Jesus today. Give them some good news. We will see you on the after show, Rumble exclusive, starting in about 6-7 minutes. We'll be back. We'll see you tomorrow. Open Lines Ohio tomorrow. Have a great day.